my left, y'all good? Good afternoon and welcome to the Blythewood Town Council meeting. Today is Monday, January the 27th of the year 2025. And it's 6 p.m. We'll begin with the roll call, Ms. Thurston.
Councilwoman Page.
Here.
Councilman Brock.
Here.
Councilwoman Fripp.
Here.
Councilman McKenrick.
Here.
Mayor Griffin.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Was notification and posting of the meeting agenda posted according to state law?
Yes, sir, it was.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, please join Mayor Pro Tem Brock for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for protecting us last week as much of the South Carolina and the Southeast experienced unprecedented weather events. We ask that you oversee this body as we come together to do the will of the people of the town of Blythewood. We ask that you bless our town, our county, our state, and our country as we continue throughout this year. We ask that you watch over our first responders, our police, our firefighters, our military, both domestic and abroad. All these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Thank you. At this time, I'll be looking for a motion to approve the minutes from the December 16th meeting and the December the 27th special call meeting. I'll be looking for a motion to approve those minutes as presented. No, sir, I'm sorry, not from the audience. It's okay.
We'll cover that grenade.
Well, we got it, though.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Thank you. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Brock.
Oh, hold on one second, Mayor Griffin. There's actually two copies of the 27th. Was that a Friday?
Yes.
Okay. There's actually two copies, one in the packet, and then there's an amended version. I would move to approve the original version of the December 16th minutes and amend the amended version to say Friday, December 27th, 2024. The current version says Thursday.
You got that, Ms. Thurston?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, there's one more correction on the 27th copy. It's just a typo. On page 7, the end of that first paragraph, I think that's supposed to say Blythewood's future, and it says Blackwood's. I think it was just an autocorrect thing.
Stand by, let's make sure Ms. Thurston.
Said page 7.
Page 7.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, any other corrections to those, to the amended or the current? All right, we have a motion that's still on the floor to approve. I'll be looking for a second.
Second.
All right, second made by Councilman McKendrick. All in favor, signify by, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. All right, at this time, I'll be Mr. Steins. Please present the town administrator report, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Town Council. In light of tonight's heavy presentations. I've kept the administrative report pretty light. Just a few notes here. Blythewood offices will be closed February 17th, 2025 for President's Day. Also, as an update, we encourage everybody to visit the town's new website, and we welcome any kind of feedback to the town. You can let myself or Jordan know, but we've spent several weeks doing various updates, adding new pages, new tabs. We find it easier to navigate now. It's a little bit more robust in its images and just overall a better look. So we're pretty excited to have that done. The soccer field pavilion project, we are on time and on budget with that project, still with a completion of May 2nd, 2025. As another update, they did get those slabs poured since putting this report. 2 shells of the building completed by this Friday. The land development ordinance update, we've began that process, the adoption process. We started with the Board of Architectural Appeals and Board of Zoning Appeals last week. Staff received a recommendation to the Planning Commission from each respective board on January 23rd, 2025. So those recommendations are going to be presented to the Planning Commission in February. Staff will seek a final recommendation to Council with an anticipated first and second readings taking place in February and March of 2025. Sandfield property update. Staff, I've been working with Heritage Engineering on getting driveway permits both on Langford Road as well as Sandfield. The Sandfield Road permit is complete with SCDOT as well a crosswalk, and we are finishing up the Langford Road, and this will allow us to construct driveways for that new parcel over there. That is all I have right now, Mr. Mayor, unless there's any questions from council.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You all, council members, you have heard the administrator report from Administrator Stearns. Do you have any questions for the administrator? All right, thank you. Hearing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the FY 2024-2025 monthly budget report. Any questions or concerns from council after reviewing the budget report? All right, thank you. Hearing none, we'll move on to boards and committee updates. First board and committee update will come from the Doco Meadows Park Foundation, Councilwoman Page.
So we have been able to complete a website in order for contribution fundings to be sought after. And so perhaps at the next council meeting, we can give a brief review of it and be able to present it to all those that have favor and those that would be willing to contribute to our future park.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for Ms. Page? All right, hearing none, Ms. Page, when that is ready, make sure staff has that so that we can do our part and promote that on social media. Next item is the Central Midlands Council of Government. Our meeting was canceled due to scheduling at Midlands Tech, where we hold our meetings from the weather, from their school makeup. We will be making that up. They elected to do that next month, and I'll keep you posted on that. Next item is Richland County Transportation Penny Advisory Committee, known as the TPAC. Councilman McKendrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did hold the TPAC meeting today at 4 o'clock, but I do believe Mr. Maloney is here.
Yes.
If you want to go ahead and take his report now, he's probably got more up-to-date information than I do.
Yes, and we have him on our presentation side. We'll hold that to the presentation. If your schedule allows, we have it later in the agenda, unless you want to do it now. Mr. Green, I know you're here. You want to do yours now? Or do yeah, he was supposed to. Okay, well, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Just a point of clarity, Mayor, real quick. Mr. Maloney was supposed to be here. He is sick tonight, so that's why Mr. Green is here in his place, just to add clarity.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Floor is yours, sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm actually not prepared to do a full report, just report on my projects, if that's okay. Like I said, Mr. Maloney's sick, so just trying to carry on. So on Blythewood Road, let's talk about what we've accomplished so far. We placed the drainage structures, we placed the curb and gutter, we placed the shared use path, we got all the utilities relocated, and we're currently placing asphalt pavement on the project. Once that pavement is complete and placed, we're going to shift traffic to the south side of the project and start working on the north side of the project. As far as update on construction, we're about 25–30% behind. We had some utility problems, and now we're having some weather problems. It's been too cold to place asphalt, so we're working whenever we can, but we've had some setbacks. So on Creech and McNulty projects, we have several stages of design. We have the 30% design, we have the 60% design, and we have the 90% design. We're currently at the 60% design phase, and once we get to that stage, we're able to purchase right away. So that's where we are right now on Creech and McNulty. On Creech, we have a total of 4 tracks that we've attained out of 20 that we need. And on McNulty, we have a total of 6 tracks out of the 12 tracks that we need. So that's where we are on those projects. On Kelly Mill Road, like I said, there's several stages of design, 30, 60, 90% design. So we're at the 60% design stage at Kelly Mill Road. And well, we're submitting for the 60%. So once that is approved by the DOT, we'd be able to purchase right away and move forward with that project. Those are all the projects that I'm prepared to speak about tonight. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Green. I do want to say something while we're on camera. Thank you to say thank you to you and Mr. Mahoney doing the ice for. I got the county trucks out here to ride through some of the parts of de-ice, so definitely appreciate you guys for that responsiveness on that.
Yes,
any questions for Mr. Green? Hearing none, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Next item on the agenda will be appointments. These will be new appointments. The first appointment is to the Planning Commission for Katasha Hytison. I'm sorry, Hyacin. Thank you, ma'am. To be appointed to the Planning Commission. She is here if council has any questions for her. I'll be looking for a motion on that. I will like to entertain combining those two together with Mr. Mario Lewis, who is also here in the audience, and he is to be appointed to the Board of Zoning and Appeals, the BZA. He is also here if members of council have questions. Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Mr. Mayor, if it pleases this council, I'd actually like to make a motion to approve all appointments in Section 3 and all reappointments in Section 4 via unanimous consent, which means if no one objects, it just passes without.
I have no problem with that. Members of council, any discussion on that before I ask for a vote? All right, any objections to those? Unanimous consent? All right. I'm sorry, I can't see this. Okay. All right, thank you. Congratulations on your appointment. Looking forward to your success in the future. And I'm going to read these out because it was some other ones on there for the reappointments. And that was to the Planning Commission, the Board of Architectural Review, and Board of Zoning and Appeals. That was just to clean up our internal tracking list, so to turn folks that were yellow and red back to green and reset their appointment times. So thank you, council, on that. Next. I would let you do that at the end, ma'am. I would let you do that at the end, ma'am. I'm moving forward with this agenda this evening. Discussion item on the next item on the agenda is the discussion item A, South Carolina Attorney General opinion issued January 14th of 2025. Mr. Balazar, are you prepared to discuss that?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'm certainly willing and able to discuss the Attorney General opinion that was recently issued as a result of an opinion being requested by the town. I requested the opinion, I think in early December, and then Attorney General or Assistant Attorney General Sidney Milling responded to the questions that were posed in the request for an opinion that I made on behalf of the town. The two questions were, can a strong mayor appoint a deputy/assistant town administrator without seeking the input and or approval of the town council? And the second question that was posed to the Attorney General was, can a town council lawfully amend a municipality's budget in the manner that was described in the letter to usurp a strong mayor's responsibility and duty to appoint municipal employees? And in the letter, in the, I guess, request letter that was sent to the Attorney General, there were some background facts provided as far as the two budget votes that were held in this past December regarding the budget for administrative positions and the budget amendments that were made for those administrative positions. So that was sort of the background that the Attorney General's office had in answering these questions. First of all, the Attorney General's answer to the first question, and I'm just sort of paraphrasing from the Attorney General opinion, and this document is certainly a public document. I think the Attorney General's office publishes all of its opinion letters on its own website, but this opinion letter is dated January 14th of 2025, and to answer that first question about whether the mayor can appoint positions, the Attorney General responded, we believe the mayor has the authority to create such a position if he deems it necessary for the good of the municipality, and may appoint someone to fill this position without the approval of the council. So that was the answer to the first question. The second question dealt with the budgeting issue, and whether in the budgeting scenario, whether that could be used and the question that was posed, to usurp the strong mayor's authority to appoint such positions. And I think that the AG's opinion it recognized the tension between a strong mayor being able to appoint some positions and being able to have that ability to appoint persons to positions and to establish positions, and the tension with the legislative prerogative
to enact budgets and amend budgets, and that has always been a legislative function. The only thing that the Attorney General sort of hedged on was that some prior opinions and some legal opinions to the effect that a council cannot do something to the budget, like take away a budget completely, or use the budget in such a way that the mayor cannot perform his statutorily required duties. And some of those statutorily required duties, may be to any of those functions that a mayor has. And those are listed in Title V as the functions that a strong mayor may have. So the Attorney General's opinion was a yes on that second question, that a town council can amend a budget in that manner, but with sort of the caveat that a town council cannot do it in such a way that would completely strip the mayor of the ability to exercise a strong mayor's powers under Title V. But the Attorney General's office really didn't give an opinion on whether that was done in this scenario concerning the budgeting amendments that were made in December, because that is a factual intensive question that just wasn't reached by the Attorney General. So that is my summary and overview of the opinion that the Attorney General issued on January 14th of 2025.
Cool deal. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from council on this AG's opinion? All right, hearing none, after this, we'll make sure that this opinion is posted online on our website and available to the public at any time, and to the media at any time. We will move on to presentations. The first presentation was just done by Mr. Green due to Mr. Mahoney being absent due to his illness. The second one will be the Item B, FY24 Town of Blythewood Audit Financial Statements, Love Bailey and Associates.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. My name is Will Walls, and I'm an audit manager with Love Bailey and Associates. And I believe I provided each of you a folder and then the actual bound copies of the financial statements, but the folder has a little handout that I'll go over here in a little bit. But before we dive into that, we always kind of like to go over what an audit is, what our responsibility is for the audit, what the town's responsibility is for the audit, and then ultimately the opinion that y'all received on the financial statements. So our main goal and objective is to issue an opinion which provides reasonable assurance that the financial statements are materially correct. So we get y'all's trial balance, which consists of your assets, liabilities, revenues, and expenses, and perform various testing procedures and analytics to determine the reasonableness of those balances at 6/30/2024, and then we ultimately issue an opinion on those. Secondly, we also like to disclose that this was not specifically a forensic audit, so we're not trying to find fraud. We do have procedures in place that try to detect that with unpredictable procedures, an assessment of your internal controls, and obviously we had no issues there this year with any kind of fraud being identified. We always like to disclose that this wasn't a forensic audit. This is a financial statement audit, so that's not the main goal and objective. And then lastly, our audit, it doesn't address the financial condition or provide management with any kind of guidance as to what financial decisions the town should be making. Ultimately, that's the management's responsibility, and for us to maintain independence as the external CPA firm who's performing the audit, we have to maintain independence and not help y'all with those types of things. Ultimately, Blythewood's responsibility is to maintain effective internal controls and regularly assess risks. So some examples of good, effective internal controls is segregation of duties. So not one person's doing everything with the finances, receiving money, writing checks, et cetera, and also having proper approvals on payables and payroll. Additionally, proper use of grant funds. So in the 2024 audit, there were no internal control findings, so that's a good sign for the town. And then lastly, y'all are ultimately responsible for the financial statements. So we do prepare those financials, but the trial balance that we receive from y'all must be complete and accurate in order for those financials to be relied upon. And lastly, the opinion y'all received for the 2024 audit was an unmodified opinion, which basically means that the financial statements are materially correct in all respects with generally accepted accounting principles, and that is the best opinion that the town can receive. And in regard to the handouts that I provided y'all, the first page is basically your statement of revenues and expenses year-over-year comparison. So you have the 2023 amounts in the left-hand column, and then the 2024 amounts in the right-hand column, and then a dollar change and a percentage change calculated out to the side. And this is page 19 of the financial statements if you actually want to find it in the actual financials. So in total, your overall revenues increased around $3 million from the previous year. A lot of that was determined by the fees, license, and permits. It increased around $4.7 million, and of that $4.7 million, I believe $4.2 million of it was generated from the Scout Motors Company, from all the permits and fees that they were paying for the construction of the new plant. And then y'all had a slight decrease in franchise fees, mostly due to timing. Your other revenue decreased around $186,000, and that was mostly due to y'all spending less grant dollars from the previous year. And then your ARPA funds, obviously y'all spent all of that in 2023, and there were no expenditures for ARPA, so no revenue was recognized this year, which is a $1.8 million decrease. And again, so overall your total revenues increased $3 million from the previous year. And then if you drop down and look at the expense section, your operating expenditures decreased $826,000. So that's always nice to see when your revenues increasing and your operating expenses are decreasing. Overall, the main reason for that decrease was less capital outlay in 2024 compared to 2023. That was a $3.1 million reduction. But y'all had $2.8 million more in expenditures for the general government, and most of that was related to payments made to RCI of South Carolina, which is the building and code consultant firm that was doing the inspections for the Scout facilities. Y'all paid a little more in principal payments towards the JTM McLean debt in the previous year, so there was a decrease of around $416,000 on principal payments on debt. And then if you drop down a little bit lower than that, the other uses and sources, this is basically your non-operating revenues and expenses. Last year, y'all had $2.1 million of debt proceeds from that JTM McLean debt. And this year, y'all didn't have any kind of debt that y'all entered into. So overall, your change in fund balance, which you can kind of think of as your net income for your governmental funds, was $3.7 million, which is an increase from $2 million in the previous year. The final page that's in your handout is your balance sheet, and this is for government-wide, so all of your funds. And if you'll look, your total assets increased around $3.5 million from the previous year. Your cash and restricted cash increased around $3.4 million, and that was due to the net income of $3.9 million. Your receivables increased a little bit, which was due to timing of payments received at year end. Your capital assets decreased around $104,000, and that's due to $312,000 of capital purchases during the year, and then $416,000 of depreciation expense. Your deferred revenues decreased a little bit, $101,000, and then in your long-term liability section, your bonds decreased around $312,000. That's just from principal payments on debt for the year. So overall, you can kind of see at the very bottom, your net position increased around $3.9 million, from $12.5 million to $16.4 million. And at the very bottom, you can see your total debt outstanding at 6/30/2023 was $4.6 million, and at 6/30/2024, that was $4.3 million. and your future debt service requirements, so basically your principal and interest on debt for the next 2 years is $513,000 right now. And at the very bottom, we do this calculation, COH, which stands for cash on hand. And this is a representation of how much unrestricted cash y'all have to cover operating expenditures, and it's measured in months. So, and there's two different calculations. One is just operations in general, and then the second calculation is operations excluding capital purchases and debt. So we always kind of like to look at the one with the operations excluding capital purchases and debt to measure the liquidity of a town. And so at 2023, that was around, y'all had around 17 and a half months of operating cash on hand, and y'all had 17 months at 6/30/2024. So we always like to tell most of our clients, towns, cities, municipalities, that a good operating reserve is around 3 months, just due to timing of tax payments and waiting on grant reimbursements, et cetera. So y'all appear to be very well reserved with 17 months of cash on hand to cover future operating expenditures. And that's all I have for the 2024 audit presentation, and I'll just open it up right now for any questions that y'all might have.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. Any questions from council on the audit, financial audit? All right, here, I do have one. So I know you said this isn't a forensic audit, but
Right.
you do have mechanisms to detect if something were to look fishy.
Right.
And you didn't see any of that?
For auditing standards, we're basically required to do an unpredictable procedure each year, which basically means that we're doing something different each year, so that the management and the town can't get used to the stuff that we're doing every single year, and it kind of helps identify any kind of fraud, or try to at least.
Okay.
And y'all have good internal controls in place, and that's one big thing that helps prevent fraud in the first place, is good internal controls.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that clean bill of health there, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes, sir.
I would also, for Love Bailey, appreciate the work y'all do, but also our staff, Daniel, Ms. Julie, Ms. Durst, thank y'all for what you do. Julie, I know this mainly falls into your bailiwick day to day, so we certainly appreciate a good audit when we get one. Don't want to overlook employees. Thank you, sir.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
All right, yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right, next item on the agenda is open citizens comment. I don't have anyone that signed up, but I will pause for a moment. If anybody wish to speak publicly, just approach the mic, and I will pause for a few seconds. Yes, sir, Mr. McLean.
Greetings, my name is Jim McLean and so forth, and live at on Sandfield Road, and I'm not sure what the mechanism is for the town to look at speed limits. On Blythewood Road, you have one of the largest subdivisions, certainly within this area, 500 homes with a speed limit of 55 miles per hour right directly in front of the entrance. You have the same problem on the north end of the town, coming into town, where even within the town limits, you have speed limits of 55 miles per hour. I don't know whose responsibility it is, but somewhere along the line, somebody needs to take a look at it and see what can be done. It's dangerous. You have a subdivision, Mayor, that you saw today, that's on the crest of a hill, and people drive crazy as hell. And pardon my French for saying that, but the same thing is true on Langford Road. But somebody's got to take responsibility for it. One's federal highway, one's a state highway. But I do think the town has enough clout that they can exercise good judgment in trying to protect the town. You can sit out here any night, and all thing you can hear are people racing in and out of the town. It's unsafe, and just would encourage the town to take a proactive look at it to see what can be done to make some sane aspects as far as the driving.
Gotcha.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.
Any other citizen that wish to speak this evening? All right, thank you. Hearing none, open citizens comment period is closed. Next item on the agenda, I'll be looking for a motion to move into executive session pursuant to South Carolina Code Section 30-4-70. We have 4 items on the agenda. We have item A, Project Connect update. Project B, discussion and negotiation of incident to propose contractual arrangement and proposed sale of property, of real property, Dogo Park. Item C, receipt of legal advice subject to attorney-client privilege regarding business license fees. Item D, discussion of employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of employee, and the receipt of legal advice relating to same. I'll be looking for a motion from council to enter into executive session.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman McKendrick, looking for a second. Second made by Councilwoman Page. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. We'll move to executive session. All righty, y'all ready? All right, we will reconvene. I'll be looking for a motion to reconvene to regular session. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Brock. I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Second made by Councilwoman Page. Any discussion? All right, hearing no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Thank you. All right, council, next item, were there any items requiring a vote following executive session? All right, hearing none, I'll be looking for a motion to adjourn. Motion made by Councilman McKendrick, looking for a second. Second made by Councilwoman Page. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Good night.